Hey, today I'm gonna take you through the terms and techniques of editing, and I'm gonna not only show you how to implement these techniques, but also why we use them to enhance our story. So we're gonna start off with the most basic cut of all, the standard cut, also known as a hard cut. This is where we go from the end of one shot, we cut to the start of the next one. There's no transitional element in between, such as say a dissolve. We just cut from one shot to the next. And so today we're gonna be using the short film Overtime, which is about a guy that turns into a werewolf. He is rushing to get home because there's a full moon tonight, so needs to get home. Bad things start to happen. So let's take a look at the script here for this scene from Overtime. We have our two characters, Simon and Ralph. Ralph is the werewolf. And they're in an office. Ralph is trying to get out, trying to get back home. Simon is preventing him from leaving, wants to have a chat with him before he takes off. And so let's take a look at the script. We start off with Simon. It says, whoa, what's the big rush? Then we go to Ralph. Oh, nothing, just big date? Nope. Simon continues with, listen, I know you're a private kind of guy, Ralph, but let me give you some advice. Don't keep secrets, yeah? Ralph says, yeah, no. It distances you from people, yeah? As you keep going through the scene, as you can see, we're just bouncing back and forth between dialogue. And so we're now gonna apply a standard cut to this scene, meaning that I'm just gonna cut from one line of dialogue to the next. Just go back and forth doing a standard cut, no transitional element. And we're gonna see how that looks and see how it feels. What I want to do is I want to first lay out the foundation. I want to lay out what is scripted. And this is done through standard cuts. I'm really just cutting back and forth between dialogue. At this point, I'm not thinking so much about what emotion I need to bring out just yet. I just want to get the dialogue down. So let's take a look at now the coverage for each character. We'll start off with Simon's side.
Action.
Whoa. What's the big rush?
Nothing, just...
Big date?
Nah.
No. Listen, Ralph. I know you're a private kind of guy. I respect that, I do. But let me give you a little bit of advice. Don't keep secrets, yeah?
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, no, they distance you from people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't keep them forever, can you?
Nah.
No. I know you're a big secret, Ralph.
Really?
Just let loose and have some fun, all right? God.
All right, so now I'm going to take a look at Ralph's coverage.
And action.
What's the rush?
Nothing, just...
Big date?
Nah.
No. Listen, Ralph. I appreciate that you're a private kind of guy. I do. But listen, let me give you a little bit of free advice. Don't keep secrets, yeah?
Yeah, nah.
No, they distance you from people.
Yeah.
Yeah? And you can't keep them forever.
Nah.
I know you're a big secret, Ralph.
Really?
Just let loose and have fun.
At this point, we start off the scene with Ralph trying to leave the office. We'll start on his shot, then do just a standard cut, cut to then the other side, which is Simon preventing him to leave. Listening to the dialogue, and I'm comparing that to our script. So I'm still just cutting back and forth between each character's dialogue. I'm still going, I'm about to finish the scene, we're about to exit. As you can see, at the end, it says Simon winks at Ralph, pats him on the shoulder and leaves. Ralph tears down the hallway and that is the end of our scene. So now I'm just gonna play the scene as I cut it. I just simply cut back and forth between dialogue. I haven't done, again, any fine tuning. Just gonna play it back and see how it looks.
Whoa. What's the big rush?
Nothing. Just,
Big date?
no.
No. Listen, Ralph. I know you're a private kind of guy. I respect that, I do. But let me give you a little bit of advice. Don't keep secrets, yeah?
Yeah, nah.
No, they distance you from people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah? And you can't keep them forever, can you?
Nah.
No. I know you're a big secret, Ralph.
Really?
Just let loose and have some fun, all right? God.
Now I say watch it back, and even with all these mistakes, now I am getting a better understanding of where do I need to cut to a reaction, say as someone is speaking. Of course, clean up a lot of the dialogue, but now I'm actually seeing it visually, seeing a visual representation of what is scripted, constructed by simply just standard cuts. And now moving forward, I'm gonna fine tune this scene using other types of cuts.
You don't want to accept that. I don't know what else I can do for you. Will there be something else?
I don't know. Will there?
Is something wrong
With what?
with anything?
Is that what you're asking me? Is there something wrong with anything?
Will there be anything else?
You already asked me that.
Now I'm going to be talking about two cuts, the J and the L cut. These cuts have to do with how we use audio to then transition us, say, to then the next shot, right? We're taking the idea of, say, a standard cut, but now we're going to start what we call overlapping either images or audio to smooth out that transition. For what was, say, a hard cut, now is a little softer, right? It's not as abrupt, and we use either J or L cuts to do that. So let me show you how that works. So a J cut is when we are cutting to another shot, and we start hearing the audio of the next shot, say the line of dialogue, but we're still seeing the previous shot. So let's revisit the scene from Overtime. And I'm just going to show you here how we do that with using our existing cut, which was just simply a standard cut. So in this case, I want to stick with Ralph's shot, and I want to start hearing Simon say, "Hey, Ralph," but I want to soften it, right? I want to kind of stay more with Ralph to see how he's reacting, because he's trying to get out the office, right? He's trying to get out. He's frustrated. He really needs to leave, and Simon is in his way. So I kind of want to stay more with him, but also just simply soften that cut. It's not make it so abrupt. And literally what I will do is I'll just extend, in this case, Ralph's shot over Simon's dialogue.
Nothing. Just,
Big date.
no.
Listen, Ralph.
So as you can see now in the timeline, if I highlight these clips, why it's called a J cut, because it looks like a J. We start hearing Simon's dialogue as we are still seeing Simon, right? So at this point, we're still seeing Ralph react,
No.
Listen, Ralph.
but we're hearing Simon talk, right? It just softens that cut. It just makes it a smoother transition. So now let's talk about the L cut. It's the opposite. The L cut is when we start seeing the next shot, start seeing the picture, but we're still hearing the audio from the previous shot. If you look at it on the timeline, it'll look like an L. Let me show you.
Listen, Ralph. I know you're a private kind of guy, and I respect that. I do.
So when Simon says, "Simon, I know you're a private kind of guy. I want to see Ralph. I just want to see his reaction, right? Because he's the one now that is trying to get out of there. We really want to see how he's reacting. So I kind of want to stick more with Ralph's reaction. So, but I still want to hear what Simon is saying. So again, I'm going to extend Ralph's shot to create that L cut. Bring it back.
Big date.
No.
Listen, Ralph. I know you're a private kind of guy, and I respect that. I do.
So if we look at the timeline, we can see that if we highlight these clips, the cut here looks now like an L. And that is why it is called an L cut. So in this case, why did I decide to use J and L cuts? Well, Ralph is trying to get home, right? He's trying to really move on and head out to his car and go home, but Simon is in his way. How can I create that sense of urgency? Well, maybe we then, from the beginning, set up more of these J and L cuts to soften those transitions, but at some point, as we move forward in the scene, we can see that Ralph is getting flustered. He really needs to get out. So how can I enhance that? Well, we go back then to more of a standard cut, a cut between shots and dialogue, and make it quicker, right? Not have such soft transitions, and have harder, more abrupt transitions, so you create that feeling of urgency. And we are now increasing the pacing, the rhythm of the scene. My way of creating that is by implementing J and L cuts in the first part of the scene, and as we need to feel more urgency, I'm going back to, say, a standard, harder cut. All right, so now let's compare these two sequences, one using J and L cuts and the other one just using standard cuts. And here we start seeing, them interacting. We're just feeling a sense of rhythm, right? Just one rhythm. It's back and forth, that as we watch, it doesn't really change throughout. Sure, as we get closer, further into the sequence, sure, we maybe have shorter shots, we increase the rhythm a little bit, but as a whole, it's just one note. There's just one sense of pacing. So now let's watch that same sequence with the use of both J and L cuts and standard cuts. So this is the part where I decided to start using J and L cuts. I want to soften these transitions because I identified that I could start some type of rhythm here. I wanted it to go soft and slow and easy transitions here. And then as we start seeing Ralph then check his watch, we understand, okay, he really needs to leave, he needs to get out. But then as I'm watching the dailies, I'm seeing these Ralph's reactions. Oh, they're pretty funny. So maybe I'll create these comedic moments. As you can see here, though, we do go back to slower rhythm, still using a standard cut. And so now, instead of being, say, just one note, we're seeing almost 3 notes, right, with regards to pacing. There's more complexity now to the scene besides just using simply standard cuts. And all this is identified as I am watching the footage and knowing now these terms and techniques. I know what I can use. I know what tools I have to then create the story that I want to create using the footage that I have.